It's the CHGO Blackhawks Podcast presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Welcome to Top Shelf Tuesday. I don't know why I butchered that already. Top Shelf Tuesday, most hated NHL players. We are going to have a lot of fun on this show, and I know our people in the comments in the chat are going to have a lot of fun chiming in with some names from the past as well. We got a bunch of news to get to before we get to that, but first want to introduce the panel. Greg Boysen in the middle, Mario Tirabassi on the left. I'm Jay Zawaski. Thanks for jumping in.
And I'm Shadow Stevens in the bottom middle.
And Lawrence is providing traffic updates on the 8s every
And Don Pardo behind the yeah. I think we should rename Top Shelf Tuesday Top Temp Tuesday because this is the second Tuesday in a row when we hit triple digits.
It was definitely a shorts temptation day for me, but then I couldn't find any clean ones. So I'm wearing slightly less dirty jeans.
Slightly less dirty. That's fine.
I just wish we could have these 100-degree days on Thursdays and Fridays when we would do our show remotely.
Yeah, from my 40-degree basement.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful.
You know,
would be nice.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? It's summer in Chicago. I'll take this over tornadic winds and rain.
Summer solstice.
It's officially summer solstice.
Yeah. Coming in with a bang.
Yeah, well, it always does.
Here's 100 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, we got a lot to get to today. So last night, speaking of the heat, I was coaching a softball game, and all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Apparently, I'll let you guys sort of explain what happened. Kevin Weeks had some news, then he didn't.
Kevin Weeks believed he had news, so he was getting ready for Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final last night. He was outside the men's room at Amalie Arena, and he had announced breaking news that the Blackhawks were hiring Ryan Huska, a former draft pick by the Blackhawks and former head coach at both the WHL and AHL levels. He's currently an assistant with the Calgary Flames. I think I, like most people, was like, that's completely out of left field.
Yes.
And shortly after, maybe, 5-10 minutes it might have been, Weeks' video was taken down, or he took it down, deleted it. And it just didn't, it really didn't seem right. You know, it was a coach that was just kind of off the board, hadn't been connected by anyone else. And so, I ended up talking to 2 people who are close to the situation, close to the coaching search with the Blackhawks, in the know, and they both said no truth to the report. One said that Huska had not been interviewed. One went as far as to say he is not a candidate. So take that for what you will, but it doesn't seem like Ryan Huska is in the plans for the Blackhawks. Kevin Weeks later, then a few minutes later, came out and said, hey, I had announced some news. I guess that's not the case, but the coaching search is still in its process. And it's just like, so it kind of just came out as, hey, they're still searching, and sorry about putting out the wrong information.
Yeah. When it first came out, he had Husk, not Huska. So
he said Ryan Husk.
I thought maybe he deleted it because he had the typo.
Yeah.
And then
I thought that for sure, yeah.
You were told by 2 people that are very trustworthy that this is a nothing burger.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back. A very rare misstep from one of the most reliable guys.
Yeah.
It happens to everybody.
I can't.
Right.
He's hit on pretty much everything that he makes a video for. So when he came out and did his whole spiel, I was like, wow, this seems very legitimate.
Right.
And then it ended up not being the case.
Rare misstep. I will give. I'm a big fan of Kevin Weeks. I wanted the Hawks to consider him.
I love his work.
Manager or president position even. I will give him credit for this. Yes, he made a mistake. He owned it.
Yeah.
But a hell of a use of the word fluid standing outside of a men's room. I give him credit for that.
That was even if it's the wrong information, it was a good video.
To say fluid situation outside of a crowded men's room is top notch in my world.
Yeah,
so I'll give him credit for that.
Good. Well, and I would say to people, because I saw a lot of people then online last night saying, oh, well, what kind of coach is he? What do you know about him? And to me, from who I talked to, it really seems like we don't need to waste much breath worrying about Ryan Huska, because it just, to me, does not feel like he is on the radar.
Yeah. When our sources say he's hasn't been interviewed, and one says he's not a candidate, I don't think we need to worry much about him.
Yeah.
I agree. However, for a guy as plugged in as Kevin Weeks, for this name to just fly out of the blue, and it's probably, if he's comfortable enough to go make a video about it, he's gotten it from a source that he believes is legitimate, and he's comfortable with going. Most journalists wait until they have two sources, which is what you did last night, which is what I did with the Barry Trotz news that I heard. One person told me, I sought it out with another and confirmed. Great, then I'm comfortable going with it. I don't know if Kevin did that as well. Maybe he's got a source he trusts so much he doesn't have to do that, which is fine. I just find it odd that out of the blue, he creates a video, that's a name, and all of a sudden it's like, no, not a candidate at all. It's just weird. And I'm not saying that sources are lying to us or whatever, and I do think there's probably nothing to this, but it's just very strange. Like, had he said Luke Richardson, it could have been, oh, I misheard you. You told me they interviewed him. I thought you said they hired him. My bad. But Ryan Huska is a name we've not heard at all before.
Right.
And in any way, shape, or form, and all of a sudden he's making a video that has happened. There's like a sliver of a percentage of, for me, that I'm like, maybe there's a little something there. Maybe he's on the radar as an assistant or something like that. For those that don't know, Huska was drafted by the Blackhawks. Didn't have much of an NHL career. When I say not much, one game.
One game.
Yep.
One more than I ever played.
One more, yes. Most recently played for the Springfield Falcons in 99-2000. He has been an assistant with Calgary since 2018. He was a head coach of the Stockton Heat before then and the Kelowna Rockets before then. Long run in Kelowna was 7 years. So he's got some coaching experience, not head coaching experience in the NHL. But, yeah, there's probably nothing to this, but just the randomness of all of it has me like, ooh, a little suspicious. I got the foil hat on a little bit.
Yeah, but can we talk about Weeks' beautiful jacket? I mean, look at
great.
it. The
I mean,
minty,
he's one of the best in the business.
minty chocolate
He'll come
chip.
Fantastic style.
I needed some ice cream after looking at that.
Yeah,
love the
he
men's
looks
room.
like he's on his way to a Morris Day in the Time concert. It's fantastic.
I have to say the since the Turner ESPN switch, the wardrobe has also improved. You've got Bissonnette always has some sort of funky looking suit on. They're all kind of trying to one up each other on the thing.
Wayne Gretzky has resurrected the sweater vest.
Yes, he has. that you know what? I gotta say, Wayne is not fat, but that is a fat guy go-to. The sweater vest, you can rock that in any. I mean, like any sort of formal occasion. If your shirt's not really fitting right, or you're going to sweat too much, the sweater vest is a perfect go-to.
I think opening night, I will wear a sweater vest over one of my Roosevelts.
There you go.
I'm totally on board with the clothing gimmick. Obviously,
they've got to get into the Roosevelt's. Got to get into the sweater vest game.
Oh, I don't. That's money I can't afford to be giving them right now. Wait till I get my endorsement deal, then they can roll out the sweater vest.
There you go. We got to work on that, man.
I'm trying.
We got to work on that.
They're aware.
Yeah, hey,
so
look, there is a sales position open for the Chicago region of all cities. So sign up. If you're a salesperson,
hey, there you go.
Sign up and get Greg that endorsement. That's your first job.
Yeah.
Oh, we should mention, by the way, allchgo.com in the Chicago locker, some
shirts.
sweet new designs. The
let me show
skyline.
ya.
I know Lawrence is pulling it up right there.
Hold on. Let's just
Absolutely
This
beautiful.
is the CHGO 2022 summer.
The summer
collection.
The summer collection.
Yes.
There's
There it
there's
is.
the skyline.
That looks
Skyline shirt.
fantastic.
I love that shirt.
Look at that bean.
I had 4 or 5
bean in
people
there.
reach out to me and say, "Hey, how can I get one of those?" I'm like, "The link." Like,
Seriously, yeah.
Do you
It
think
is
I
a
have
link.
like a case of them in my car? Like, that's not the case.
There's this thing called the internet.
I had to pay for it. You had to pay for it,
Yeah.
pal.
Yeah.
But I did. I ordered myself one. My wife got the new Cubs one, the "Hey Chicago, what do you say" shirt, and then the White Sox one is the Old English
go.
font,
Yeah,
There it is.
Southside
the Southside
like
bias. Those all look fantastic.
Those look
And
Great.
did you notice that we actually did it correctly, unlike the White Sox? It's South space, capital S side. Not like their
yes.
jersey. That's just Southside,
Yes.
which is incorrect.
They look awesome. I love all 3 of them. I have 2 of them. I'm not a Sox fan, so I will not be getting that one. But
But you will be playing one on TV tomorrow.
I'll be playing one on TV tomorrow
Yes.
when we go to the tailgate.
We all will.
The CHGO tailgate. And if you're interested in that, go to the CHGO Sports Twitter page at CHGO_sports. And I got to see how many tickets are left But jump on and join us tomorrow.
I'm sure
at the
we
White
can
Sox
find
game.
some room for you at
Yeah,
the G spot.
I think
to
like
hang out.
all the tickets have been purchased for our little deal, but definitely
Yeah,
if you're going to the
come and
game,
hang.
Stop by and
please
say
come
hello.
hang. We'll
Yeah.
be in Lot B.
Lot B, I believe. Find us. We've got our awesome new banners, and
Yeah, you'll see
we'll
the
be
big-
easy to find. And come say hello, and we'll say hello.
Yeah,
back.
the three of us will be there. So
Four of us.
and I think
I count.
Four of us.
Lawrence
will be
four,
there too.
of course.
Hi.
Lawrence has to be there. You're
It'll be
required
hard
be
to
there.
miss. We
I'm
got
sure,
new.
I'm sure our awesome White Sox guys will be there.
Yep, White Sox crew will be there. We got
Herb
some
and
awesome
Sean.
CHGO banners. Will be hard to miss. Although they are black and white, that might blend in pretty blend into the Sox colors
Just
there.
smell
But yeah,
the
you'll find
delicious
us.
Weber Grill
Well,
meats that are
That's
grilling.
the other thing you mentioned to me before the show today, Lawrence. In the description of the podcast, there's a link. If you're in the market for a Weber grill, like I am, if you use our link, you save using their link. So go to our podcast descriptions. There's a Weber link in there. Use that link, and you can save on your purchase. And it obviously helps us out a little bit because Weber is bringing us grills to the tailgate to use to cook for everybody. So it's going to be awesome.
Cooking. We're gonna be grilling up some encased meats tomorrow.
That's exactly right.
Can't wait.
That's how they got me to go.
That's how I'm going.
Yep.
I've not been to the G-Rate or the Joan, as you called it earlier today, Lawrence.
That's
which I
U.S.
loved.
Cellular.
Shout out to John.
I haven't been there in years.
I've been dreaming of churros since this event was announced, so I can't wait. It's
Yeah.
going to be a good time.
I'm excited to check out the Craft Cave, which, that's where the nice, tasty beers they have. I don't really know what beers. I haven't been to the Cell or the G-Rate or whatever we're calling
Comiskey?
it. G-Spot. Yeah, Comiskey 2.
Sox Park, my friend.
Yes, Sox
I
Park.
still call it Kaminsky incorrectly.
I think it's been like
Kyle
6 years
Kaminsky.
for me since I've been there. So
Yeah.
it should be warm. It should be sunny. It should be.
I'm
a good
glad
time.
it will not. It was not today.
Yeah.
It will be tomorrow, which I think is going to be like mid 80s.
Yeah, it
Still
should
pretty
be,
toasty,
oh,
but
it's
not
gonna
triple
be
digits.
beautiful. Yeah.
All right, before we get to the Cup Finals, we should also introduce our newest feature on our set, the He Who Shall Not Be Named Swear Jar. We threw our money in that we owe from mentioning the name of the former Blackhawks GM.
Yes. So
it will remain on set as we do shows, and we'll add money to it as that name comes up.
Every time that name is uttered, we will have to throw in $1.
Yes.
And then we're gonna figure out a fun charity, and maybe by like opening night, we'll donate
donate
tip
and then
jar, and we'll maybe
replenish.
Yeah, and we'll do a fun little where we'll send a link out and you can donate to that cause too.
Yeah.
We'll do it for a worthy cause. Maybe every month once the season starts or whenever it's full.
Although
we
I'll
donate
say
it.
this, I hope we don't have to send any charity too much money because just stop talking about that guy.
You would think.
You'd think, but
I'm hoping by the regular season we're not talking about him
well, then
anymore.
we can
be done with it.
name it something else. I like the idea of raising
Yeah,
money every
there you
month
go.
for a worthy cause here in Chicago. There's lots of them that need our help.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to start with the Stanley Cup or the Calder Cup. Where do you guys want to start today?
Let's go with the Calder Cup.
Let's do it. Greg,
right.
you were there.
Yeah, it was a one-sided game. The
ass
Wolves, yeah, pretty much. Wolves 6-2 win. That was a theme in hockey last night. They, after losing in overtime, game one, they blew a 4-2 third period lead, lost in overtime. They were up 4-0 before the game was even 10 minutes old. Richard Panik, we remember him. He scored the opening goal. He's got 2 goals in as many games. Some fun stuff that happened in that game. Josh Levo had 2 power play goals. He has 13 playoff goals right now, which set the Wolves' all-time franchise record for the most goals in a single playoff.
That's a team in the playoffs a
good.
lot, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
lots of really good players, and he's got the most. Fun stat that I love: Stefan Nason had 4 assists last night. It was the first 4-assist game in a Calder Cup final since 2012 when Corey Conacher did it. Corey Conacher that night for the Norfolk Admirals, his first assist of the 4 was picked up on a Richard Panik goal.
Wow.
Last night, Stefan
No
Nason's
kidding.
first assist was picked up on a Richard Panik
Look at
goal.
that.
I love stuff like that.
That's awesome.
That's like I
That's
love
incredible.
and mundane sports stats, and that made me happy when Lindsay Wilhite, the great PR guy for the Wolves, walked over and told me that stat. It's like, that's something that you put in a game recap.
Anytime something like that happens, my daughter says, Illuminati confirmed. I said, Addie, that's just a coincidence. It is not the Illuminati.
But the most interesting thing to come out of that whole game, yes, the Wolves won 6-2. It was a pretty comfortable win. Springfield got 2 goals late in the second period to make it 5-2. And the post game, talking to Wolves head coach Ryan Rosofsky, I had asked him what was the message in between the second and third period after giving up those 2 goals, and he got spicy. He got hot. Like,
yes.
You could see I'd hit a nerve, and I thought he was about to go in on his players for maybe taking their foot off the gas, and he went right after the officiating. There was a sequence that led to Springfield's first goal where 2 Wolves players, Josh Jacobs and Andrew Podorowski, got in a post-whistle scrum. They were both called for roughing. No penalty was called on Springfield. So they got a 5-on-3 for 2 minutes, and that's when they scored their first goal. And he basically said, you guys go watch that again. Tell me what we did that put us down 5-3. We're up 5-0, and we're down 2 men for no reason. He called the officiator an absolute joke.
Yeah.
He said he was a loss for words. He was shocked. He then went on and expanded and said these players work their whole lives to play in a series like this, and it's a shame that they couldn't get better officiating for a game that important. So I've talked to him a lot over the last 2 years, and he is a very passionate, very intense guy. I've never seen him. I've interviewed him after his team's lost 6-0, and he wasn't that mad. His team won 6-2 in the damn championship series, and he was hot. I would imagine his next paycheck is probably going to be a little light. The other thing, I forgot to mention it yesterday when we were talking about Calder Cup, but I was told from a reliable source with close to the Wolves that Wasowski has at least one NHL interview.
Interesting.
For once this series is over. I'm not going to speculate on what team it's with. I have no idea. But we know the teams that are still looking for head coaches. Mm-hmm. I think he's a guy that's starting to become on the radar. I don't know if he's going to get a job this quickly. But he's definitely a guy that's going to start. He's won an ECHL championship. He's won an AHL championship as assistant. He's 3 wins away from winning one this year. He's got that John Cooper kind of pedigree to the NHL. Yeah. And these are the type of guys that need to start getting more looks, not, John Tortorella.
They need to retread him.
Yeah. So interesting little tidbit to come out of there. We'll see what comes out of that.
I like that he said, I'm at a loss for words. Yet here are a bunch of words.
Here are 300 words on how bad these officials were.
I found them. Here they are.
It was a dominating win.
Absolutely. So it's 1-1. The series goes back for the next 3 games in Springfield, so it's going to be tough. Springfield has not lost on home ice yet in the postseason, and they had the most regular season home wins in the AHL too. So it's a tough place. They call it the Thunderdome. Tough place to win. Wolves have to win at least one of them to get the series back to Chicago for the last 2 games. But the way they played last night, it might not be coming back because the Wolves win the next 3. So we'll see.
Could be.
Nice.
And Pieter Kachekov, his legend grows as he once again tried to fight forward, much like he did in the playoffs for the Hurricanes with Brad Marchand. Will Bitton got a little too close for comfort in the crease, and he literally chased him to the corner and punched him in the face.
Love it.
It was
nice.
Great.
Sign him.
Yes.
Nice.
Bring him here.
Hurricane fans love him, and rightfully so. Great goalie, and he will punch a guy.
Love that. Well, when we get to our most hated player segment, I'm sure some of those guys will come up as well.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
All right, then we've got the Stanley Cup Final, Game 3. Everyone's writing off. Adam Hogue asked me yesterday during the CHGO Bear Show, are the Avs going to sweep? No. No, they're
Shame
not.
on anybody who thought that.
Yeah.
Although that thought was starting to creep in my head after 7-0.
Yeah.
The Tampa Bay Lightning are Michael Myers. They're Jason Voorhees. Every time you think you've killed them, they pop back up and go in for at least one more murder. So that's what we're dealing with.
And it's one thing to bounce back with a win. It's another thing to bounce back with a 6-2 win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
especially coming back from a 7-0 loss.
Yeah.
To come back and put it back on.
And they gave up the opening goal of that game twice. One of them was called back after a really lengthy review on a play that was kind of obvious the puck left the zone. And then they gave up another goal, and they're down 1-0, and you're like, uh-oh. And they go up 3-1. The Avs come back to make it 3-2, and you're thinking this is going to be a little. And then they took off from there.
Yep.
Some interesting stuff happened. Kucherov got hurt towards the end of that game. A little cross check.
That looks weird.
From Devin Taves. Yeah,
just the way his leg went under him was, I don't know. Hopefully he's okay because that's a game changer. But
it's huge.
It was when I saw it on replay, it just kind of looked not great.
No.
You know, like
one of those weird,
that's-
awkward where your body's not supposed to bend.
Exactly.
That way.
Right.
Yeah. And you probably missed it in real time, but then they did a good job finding it on the replay, and you saw cross check, and it drove the hip down, and it almost caused him to do like a half split on his knee, and he went off the ice immediately. So
John Cooper said this morning, the Lightning coach, that he thinks Kucherov will be able to play Game 4, but he also called Braden Point doubtful for Game 4. But considering they're 0-2 with him in the lineup and 1-0 without him in the
Keep him
lineup in
on
this
the bench.
series, maybe that's not the worst thing in the
Yeah.
world. If Kucherov can't play, that's huge. But I would think anything minus an amputation, he'll be in the lineup.
Yeah. It was an awkward injury, and if he's out, I mean that's a huge loss for Tampa. And last night we talked about it. Before on yesterday's show, last night pretty much had to be a must win for them, because you can't. This Avalanche team, if you're down 0-3, you're done.
Yeah,
and
you're
even if you
Yep.
are the Tampa Bay Lightning. But being able to come back and get the win in that game kept them alive, kept the series pretty much wide open, because we saw what they did against the Rangers. Obviously, the Avs aren't the Rangers, but what they did against the Rangers to come back after being down 0-2 and get the next 4 to get to this point. I mean, Tampa Bay is a very capable team. You're not a back-to-back defending champ for no reason.
No, they're like those Blackhawk Cup teams that like from game after game 3, games 4, 5, 6, 7, they get better.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened in the last series.
Crunch time.
You can argue now that game 4 is a must-win for Colorado, because if it
Yeah,
goes
you don't
back
wanna-
to Colorado 2-2, they have zero momentum.
Zero
anymore.
momentum, yeah. I mean, even with
Even with a 3-1 lead, I don't feel 100% comfortable, but I feel a lot better with that than 2-2.
yeah, oh for sure.
I'm just surprised we've seen so many blowouts. I mean, it's only been 3 games, but it's just I expect this to be real tight, and maybe some track meets now and there. But I didn't think 7-0 and 6-2 in consecutive
Right, yeah.
games.
Well,
I did not predict that at all.
Our guest Liam McHugh yesterday said, "Hey, it's Darcy Compher. Maybe
Yeah.
start getting it to him," and he got pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see some tighter games as the series continues here. But yeah, I mean, if it's back and forth, each team is going to have their night, like we've seen in the last 2 games. I don't know. That would feel a little bit more disappointing, even if we get 6 or 7 games out of it. If none of them are close, it's a different feeling to the series. So I'm hoping for some closer games here, some more down to the wire, late third period, and
Give us
someone's biting their
give
nails.
us a triple overtime classic already. Come
That
on.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
Yes.
All right, before we get to our Top Shelf Tuesday Most Hated Players topic, Mario sent the 3 of us, a text today and said, "Hey, did you guys realize the NHL awards are tonight?" And no, sure didn't.
Kind of went over the head there.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's a thing.
That whole thing. So that's happening tonight. So we're going to try our hand at predicting the Hart, Calder, Norris, and Vezina trophies. Where do you want to start, fellas?
Let's go with the Calder.
Let's go with the Calder. All right,
Talk
that
about the
sounds
Rooks.
good.
Calder Trophy comes down to 3 finalists: Detroit's Moritz Seider, Toronto's Michael Bunting, and Anaheim's Trevor Zegras. I think this goes to Moritz Seider,
Should.
and I think it'll be very tight in when the voting comes out. I think it'll be very tight between him and Zegras. But really, all 3 have a legitimate case to it. But I'm going with Seider.
Bunting is there because of where he played and who he played with. I don't want to take away anything from him, but playing with Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews, put your stick on the ice, get 20-something goals. Great effort, but I mean, what Seider did with Detroit, playing that position as well as he did, I mean, that was the best rookie. And Zegras was fantastic too, but I think because of what Seider was able to do as a rookie defenseman, super impressive. That's my pick.
Yeah, I want him to win. I think he deserves to win. However, I think Zegras had so many high-profile moments that he's going to win the award. I think that there's a lot of times where people that have voting rights for awards don't necessarily watch the sport as much as they should, and they will go with the most popular or the most highlighted player, and that is Trevor Zegras. He might be the most highlighted player aside from McDavid and McKinnon in the league this year because of some of the incredible goals he's pulled off. I want it to be Seider. It should be Seider. I'm going to predict that Trevor Zegras wins the award.
I wouldn't be outraged if that happened.
No,
But-
not taking anything away from him.
I wouldn't be surprised either. For the exact point you said, I mean, he had the most noteworthy highlights throughout the year, but just consistently being one of the top young players, I think Seider should be the winner. But but yeah, to your point, I wouldn't be surprised if Zegras ends up winning that one.
All right, the Norris Trophy for best defenseman. The perpetual candidate, Victor Hedman, is there from Tampa, Roman Josi from Nashville, and, of course, Cale Makar from Colorado.
Cale Makar.
Cale Makar, I think, even though this award takes nothing from the postseason, all the voting is closed before the postseason starts, I think what we've seen this season, and especially in the postseason, there's no doubt Cale Makar is the best defenseman, top to bottom in the league.
I only worry that Roman Josi, he led all defensemen in points, and Roman Josi is a great player and has been for a long time. I just hope it's not like, well, he's been really good for a long time, so we're going to give him the Norris as kind of like a career achievement award.
Well, he's already got one.
He's got one.
Okay, well, he doesn't.
Good.
He's got one. Hedman's got one.
Yeah,
Makar
it's Makar.
deserves it.
There's no defenseman better because he's been a dynamic offensively, but he's also really good defensively too. And Hedman is a guy like Duncan Keith. We've just taken for granted how good he is.
And you know who's going to be the next one like that? Cale Makar.
Right.
He's this guy again,
Right, well,
and he's going to miss Norris's. He should probably
we're going to
win.
get into that with the Hart Trophy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
People are, Cale Makar again. That's boring. We can't have him winning again.
So, well, Cale Makar is probably going to get a couple of Hart Trophies before it's all said
You're
and done.
probably
too.
correct about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Maybe
wouldn't be
as soon as
surprised.
next year. Who knows?
For the Vezina, for the finest goalie, Jacob Markstrom from Calgary, Juicy Saros from Nashville, and Igor Shesterkin from the Rangers. This is the easiest pick of all time.
Easiest.
It is Igor Shesterkin.
When you're a Vezina finalist and also a Hart Trophy finalist, why are we even having Vezina finalists?
Exactly right.
It's Igor Shesterkin. UC Saros had a great regular season, didn't play in the playoffs. Not that matters for this award. Jacob Markstrom had a really good regular season, but he kind of wet himself a bit in the playoffs.
Yep.
So Shesterkin was the best goalie from day one to the end of the regular season. He was the reason the Rangers were as good as they were. He was the reason the Rangers got to within 2 wins of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yep.
He's worthy of a Hart Trophy nomination, so he's the surefire Vezina. There's no discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you put the Vezina nominee in the Hart category,
Just give him
you
the
have to
award
give
already.
him the award by
Yeah.
definition, right? So the other Hart finalists, Austin Matthews from Toronto and Connor McDavid from the Oilers. I mean, I think it all depends on how you define the MVP, and it has been recently defined as the best player. Not the most valuable to their team, but the best. However you define this, to me, the answer is Connor McDavid either way.
Connor McDavid should win, but I think Austin Matthews will win because he plays in Toronto. You score 60 for Toronto.
60 is solid.
You're going to, and I'm not taking him away.
Yeah.
But just watch, and I know it's a regular season award, but watch the playoffs and tell me which guy is more valuable to their team.
Right.
Connor McDavid put the Edmonton Oilers on his freaking back and took them to the Western Conference Finals. Austin Matthews hasn't been out of the first round yet, and that's not his fault.
Right.
There's a lot of blame to go around there, but you take Austin Matthews off the Maple Leafs, they're probably still a wild card team. They got enough talent. You take Connor McDavid off the Oilers, they're drafting in the top 3.
They're the Hawks.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
Are they that
Draisaitl is Patrick Kane.
Are they that bad without McDavid
Yes.
though?
Yes.
Yes.
That bad?
Yes.
Picking in the lottery?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Maybe
I mean,
not lottery, but I think they're this year's Blackhawks.
Well, they would be technically a lottery team because they wouldn't make the playoffs.
Well, yeah, true. I mean, yeah, but I'm not saying like
I would think they'd be
top 3.
they would have a top 5 pick without
Yeah.
Connor McDavid, because who else is there? Is Leon Draisaitl? Leon Draisaitl is great, but he's not a one-man guy. He's not a
No.
and
He's
Evander
an MVP.
Evander Kane doesn't do what he does without Connor McDavid. Who else is carrying that team? Zach Cassian? Zach Hyman? Come on.
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Darnell Nurse. I mean, they haven't.
Nugent
They,
Harkin-
But you could do this like Alex DeBrincat,
that's
Seth
our
Jones.
Dylan Strome.
all right.
I don't.
I mean,
yeah.
It's an interesting conversation.
I think
'Cause
McDavid is the most talented player in the league, the best player. Most valuable to his team. I don't disagree with that, but I do think that the Oilers wouldn't be that terrible without him. But to the same point, you take Austin Matthews out, the Maple Leafs also wouldn't be that terrible without Austin Matthews. So I don't know. I think for this award, and I know you can say, oh, the Ted Lindsay is there. It's voted on by the Players Association, not by the same people who vote on the other awards. So there's a different connotation to the award. I think there needs to be a specific most valuable to your team and then most outstanding in the season, because you could say, oh, clearly then, a 60 goal season in this NHL, that's the most outstanding achievement. But the most valuable was Connor McDavid to his team based off of, I don't know, whatever you want to generate it or however you want to decide it. It's a really weird award this year, because then you say, well, you take out Igor Shesterkin, and what do the Rangers do? Do they even make the playoffs?
Yeah, maybe not.
So it's all three guys are super deserving. I think for a goalie to win MVP in this day and age, it has to be such an incredible season that you have to outweigh the guy who scores the most points or the most goals or what have you. And I don't know if there's a goalie that could do that in this NHL, the way that awards are voted on and the way that how good players are. Which is a disservice, but I think it's kind of like in baseball, where can a pitcher be an MVP if they're playing every fifth day, or a goalie doesn't play 82 games. So it's a really interesting trio. I think all of them have a case for it. I bet on Austin Matthews using the PointsBet app, and I think it's going to cash. I don't know. I think there's so much like back and forth debate about it, and between him and McDavid, and I think McDavid's already won. I do think, unfortunately, for the award's sake, that Toronto media will favor Austin Matthews.
Playing in Toronto will get you more votes than playing.
Yeah, it's just such a such a weird year, because neither one of them are definitive enough that where you can say, oh yeah, 100%.
There's probably a bit of an element, too, of, look, this is probably McDavid's award for the next decade.
Could be.
And this season for Matthews, like, he probably deserves one, too. And this is probably the way you justify it. Is like, look, he had a 60-goal year in Toronto with a ton of pressure on them this year. So this is the year we give it to Matthews, because McDavid's going to have so many other chances to win it. This is his best argument against McDavid is this season.
Right.
So give it to him now. I wouldn't.
And
none
Matthews
of the three would surprise me.
I'm trying to look it up here. Matthews missed a pretty decent portion of the season, didn't he? I mean, not a lot of the season, but he missed a significant amount. These are the playoff stats.
He played 73 games this year.
73. Okay, I thought it was more than that. But anyways, yeah, 60 goals in 73 games. Like, if he had played a full season, we're talking maybe 64, 65 goals. Mm-hmm. Like, that hasn't been done since, I think, what was Ovechkin in 07 had 65, and before that you had to go back to the 90s.
Yeah, back to the of course.
So yeah, it was an incredible season. McDavid obviously had an incredible season. I think there's neither pick is wrong, but I don't think either one of them is unquestionably right.
No, right. I think the debate will be there, and there's no wrong answer. All three of those guys are worthy of it.
Right.
In any other season, those performances standing alone would be worthy of it. The problem is you had three amazing performances
all this year.
So there's no wrong answer. So that's probably the one that will have the most drama. The rest are kind of we kind of figure.
I think it'll be Matthews. I'm like barely on the side of I think he deserves it, because Connor McDavid is just so good. Yeah. But I don't know. I hate to say I'm jaded to Connor McDavid's skill. But yeah, to your point, like with how many MVPs could he win in his career? I think that plays against him, because it's like, oh, he could win 10. But if he only wins 2, 3, it's just like, well, wait, why was he not the best?
If you can't beat McDavid for this award with 60 goals, then you might as well just pencil in McDavid for the next 12.
Exactly.
All right, we've been nice enough this show. Let's get into some hatred.
It's time to start.
Hate.
The first annual Player hate his ball on CHGO Blackhawks.
Should we get our wonderful sponsors in before we start spewing?
Yes.
do.
By the way, Herb's going to yell at me for saying first annual. Inaugural player haters
he's
ball.
not here.
Sorry. The best way to support us at CHGO Sports is to download the PointsBet app. When you do, use the code CHGO. If you do that now, you're going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but that's not all. Make a $50 or more first-time deposit at PointsBet, and you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker. All that for making a $50 or more first-time deposit at PointsBet. It's your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. If you see an edge in the game you're watching, is your favorite team playing for a comeback? Don't just watch the game, bet along with it live. More live betting, more live markets, and faster live cash outs. See why consumers say PointsBet has been the fastest with their live bets. Follow along with your bets from the moment they're made and stay with it all game long. And download the PointsBet app. Use that code CHGO. You can download start to finish from your phone in Illinois. So make sure you do that. So what are you waiting for? It's time to elevate your betting game. Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER for crisis counseling and referral services.
And to help yourself and CHGO, pick up some Athletic Greens and their AG1 product. It is formulated to improve your gut health, optimize your immune system, and give you more natural energy. In just 1 scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. And if you have different dietary restrictions, whether it's gluten-free or dairy-free or vegan or paleo, whatever it is, with AG1, you're good to go. Easy to incorporate into your life no matter how busy you are. A small once-a-day habit with big benefits. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop of AG1 in a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is go to athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/CHGO Blackhawks. Take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
And don't forget, go to allchgo.com to check out those new shirt designs. They're on your screen right now. If you're a member, if you're not a member, go to that CHGO locker, buy some merch. It helps us out as well. All right, it is Top Shelf Tuesday. It is time to discuss the NHL players we hate the most. And boy, the list is long and lengthy. It's hard for me to say this guy is the one I hated the most.
I got to be honest, I had a little too much fun just like finding photos of these assholes and like putting them on full screens for you. So we got a lot of full screens to get through here if you want.
Word to the wise, if you see our producer Lawrence out in the street, cross the street. He's warm, he's angry, he's
a little toasty. It's
he
toasty
has
Tuesday.
memories of hatred flowing through him. He's going to punch somebody before this day is over.
Yeah, I know,
Surfing on the
sure.
chat says, the most hated GM list starts and ends with he who shall not be named. See, I'm not going to say who that is because if I did, I'd have to put $1 in the jar, and I'm not going to say that name.
Well, this topic, we thought of this topic because I sent out a tweet during Game 2 of the Stanley Cup Final when Corey Perry was being Corey Perry and running in the goalies and then leaning on guys' ankles. I'm just getting up. So I sent out a tweet that said, nothing unites hockey Twitter quite like hatred for Corey Perry, and it's gotten hundreds of likes and people agree. So that's why we were like, hey, this sounds like something we should talk about on this Tuesday. And here we are. And Corey Perry...
Sorry, there it is.
Tops the list of current players.
I think so.
Like
One of the more universal
there's like
hatred.
Like I have a buddy that lives in Dallas, and he replied to this tweet saying, I hated him even when he played for my team, and he's a Stars fan. And he's like,
yeah.
And the thing about Corey Perry is a lot of these guys. There he is leaning on the ankle of I can't remember what Colorado player it was.
JT Compher.
JT Compher, that's what it. Yeah.
Northbrook's own.
Exactly. So he's just one of those guys that, and he's also one of those guys that you got to remember. He's a former Hart Trophy winner.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be a dick. Because he's really good. He's scored 40 goals, and that's you could say that about Brad Marchand, another guy that a lot of people hate. He's doesn't need to do that because he's a really good hockey player. You can get guys of the past, your Ty Domis and guys like that weren't ever going to score a lot of goals, but these guys are really good hockey players, and they hurt their team by doing this stuff and being taken off the ice for 2 minutes at a time.
So, I don't mind a pest. There are some people that are great at getting the opponent off their game with little stuff, like maybe slapping a stick out of their hands after a whistle or things like that. But
or licking their
Dave
face.
Bowen is a master of that.
Yes, and I'm sure if this was being done in DNVR or PHNX, Dave Bowen's name would come up a lot.
If this was done in Vancouver,
yes,
probably on top of that list.
absolutely. And there were things that we kind of turned a blind eye to because he was our guy, and we love the rat. But, it's when you get to the cheap shot stuff, and you mentioning Marshawn's a great call. Like, these guys don't have to play that way, but some guys need to find that edge to stay engaged and stay motivated and stuff. And hey, it's been working for them. Corey Perry's been playing for 100 years. I loathe the guy. Yeah. That's like the one time you saw Marian Hossa be like, don't make me end you on the ice right now. When Perry was like pulling on Hossa's stick, and Hossa's like, what are you doing, dude? Do you know who I am? Do you know that I can summon lightning from the heavens and kill you right now? Like, you never saw Hossa react to anybody that way. And Corey Perry was the one guy to really get under Hossa's skin during his time. Ooh, bad phrasing about, sorry, Marian. But to irritate, not good either. To annoy Marian Hossa was Corey Perry. And that's, so he's not near the top of my list. But for me, because of where he's been throughout his career, and because of the moments he's had against the Hawks, it's hard for me to pick anyone aside from Chris Pronger.
Yeah.
A perpetual St. Louis Blue, another guy who was just freaking awesome at hockey and didn't need to. He was Victor Hedman with an attitude, and the whole series against Philly he was a big pain in the ass to play against, and just reignited that hatred for him. It's really to see what he went through after his career was harrowing, like almost having to live in a dark room and go through all that stuff. But it seems like he's kind of out the other side, and things have gotten a little bit better for him. But that's a guy who was supremely impacted by concussions. But when he played, just a pain in the ass for every reason. Yeah, he could hit you, he'd cheap shot you, and he could defend like no one else. The guy was a great player, but a big pain in the ass and a huge dick, and I hated him.
Yeah, I hated Chris Pronger long before it was cool to hate Chris Pronger in 2010. Like, I was on that bandwagon in the 90s.
I even hate Sean Pronger by just by association.
I hate three-prong power cord.
I don't use forks.
Sporks all the way.
Right.
Skokes in the chat had Shane Doan. That's a name we didn't bring
up
in
Shane
our
Doan's a good one.
I hated Shane
that
Doan.
guy.
But I actually met him a couple years ago, and I was scouting for junior leagues. His son Josh, who is now, I believe, a brand ambassador for our Phoenix.
Yeah.
He was coaching his son's junior team, and I met him and talked to him, and really nice guy. Changed my opinion, but when he was on the ice, yes. Him and those damn elbows, I hated him. There's always an elbow.
He just got away with a lot of fucking.
You know who
shots.
he reminds me of a lot? Who has a lot of Shane Doan in him? A guy that had a couple goals last night. Gabriel Landeskog is like modern day Shane Doan.
Yeah,
great player, but has no problem putting an elbow in your temple if he has to.
Yeah, and one player that I always hated for, like you said, Jay, about moments against the Hawks is Alex Burroughs.
Oh my God!
Just the definition of a pudwhack, and
that might actually be insulting to other pudwhacks.
The rivalry between Chicago and Vancouver in the early 2010s. I mean, you can go up and down the Vancouver list and just say, oh, this guy, hate them all. But Alex Burroughs was just a dick.
Yeah,
and he continued to be a dick throughout his entire career.
And he's a coach now.
And he's a coach now. And the 2011 overtime winner, I hated that.
Yep.
That he scored that. It had to be him, of course.
He's
just
out there
Alex
teaching
Burroughs.
future players.
I was
how to
so
pull
mad I
hair.
didn't even get a picture of him.
There you go. Not worth it.
The internet. We don't want to get reported.
And we can't have a hatred. Well, before you get to your Roman Turk story that you told us about, you can't have a most hated episode without talking, of course. His name's in the chat, Raffi Torres.
Yep.
Oh,
he was on some of those Canucks teams too.
Yep.
Raffi Torres is a freaking criminal. He deserves to be in a straitjacket in a padded room and beaten with fire hoses on every hour on the hour.
Isn't he also a coach too?
Why would you want this guy anywhere near your organization for anything? What's he going to teach a hockey player how to do besides
kill someone?
F this guy. If I ever saw him in the street, I would punch him in the mouth as hard as I can and then run as fast as I could because he would probably hurt me. But I would risk assault and battery charges just to get a shot in on this guy.
He is not coaching now, but I think the guy you might be thinking of, Mario,
Steve Ott.
is Raffi Torres light. Steve Ott.
Yes,
Steve Ott.
That's right.
A guy that once the funniest thing I ever heard about Steve Ott. Somebody on Twitter years ago, I think it was one on the Blues, says Steve Ott is a guy that totally eats his own boogers.
Yeah, he is a turd. That guy.
Yeah,
and he coaches for the Blues, right?
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah,
right on brand for that. Right on brand for those guys.
That's definitely someone who I forgot, but as soon as you said Steve Ott, I was like, oh yeah, completely.
Very similar, gingery type.
Has anybody ever seen Steve Ott and Steve Zahn in the same place at the same time, though?
I don't think so.
No.
He's also Steve the Pirate from Dodgeball.
Yeah.
He's also
Steve Ott in a Neil Diamond cover band.
Yeah, love that movie.
It's a great movie.
It's a terrific movie. All right, I got to get to it because my wife created a YouTube account just to chime in on her hatred for Roman Turek.
Good to see you.
Former, was he Flames mainly? Roman Turek? She just had a hatred.
Blues, Flyers. He was around for a while.
A hatred for Roman Turek that had no real story behind it. She just hated him for no reason. I hate that Roman Turek, like to this day. And she says like he was just so good against the Hawks. Well, honey, like when we were going to games, everybody was good against the Hawks because the Hawks were terrible. But she hates Roman Turek almost as much as she loves Steve Passmore. Even as a softball coach, she wears Steve Passmore's number 29.
Now there's a name I haven't heard.
That's her guy. That was the first big gift I bought my wife was an authentic Steve Passmore jersey.
The only one ever sold, I'm pretty sure.
They were like, "Are you sure you want this?" I'm like,
is that your brother?
Print it up, Hawk Quarters. Print it up.
Scoreboard, please, come on.
Yeah, Roman Turek. By the way, the photo she's using in her YouTube picture is her arm in arm with Jake Arrieta. I have been cropped out of that photo. Yes.
I mean, to be fair, so
you can't
is
even
Jake.
be mad at that, though.
No, I'm not mad.
You can't be mad
I'm
at
not
that.
mad.
I would crap myself out of a picture with Jake Arrieta.
Yeah.
I would definitely crop Jake Arrieta out of a picture of Jake Arrieta because fuck that guy. But that's a whole other story.
This was pre Jake losing his mind.
Yeah,
kind
well,
of.
he did though. So
I have to say, I did a bunch of events with him in his Cy Young season. Just bar events, empty bar events. Like me, Jake Arrieta, and like 10 people who didn't even care he was there. Could not have been nicer. Sweetest guy in the world. Super nice to Addie. But then he came back to Chicago as a different dude. It was very, very strange. Who else do we have on the list? The one that all Hawks fans know of all time is Dino Ciccarelli.
Yeah.
That's kind of like...
I still have a Dino Sucks button somewhere from back in the day.
That's kind of the default most hated player. Goes from the North Stars to the Red Wings. That's a really good way to maintain your hatred in Chicago. And just a guy, another one, really good player, Hall of Famer, which surprised me when we looked that up.
He's got he had amazing numbers.
Yeah, great. But I was like, he seems one of those borderline guys because Larmer's not in, but he is. Yeah. My God. He should be, but so should Larmer.
Maybe Steve Larmer needs to go get the morning paper in his bathrobe to get in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, there you go. That could do it. But yeah, Dino was just always that guy. Like he would always go over the line of pest. Play dirty, cheap shots, nut shots, whatever it took.
Punchable face is
absolutely
shown on that picture that was on the screen. Somebody
and just
got
a goon name.
Yeah.
Dino Ciccarelli, like you cannot be you're little first of all. So he's got the little man complex going on.
Very Joe Pesci-esque.
Yeah, he's like
he's Joe Pesci.
He's like the guy that gets killed in the first episode of The Sopranos for mouthing off to the boss.
Yes, exactly.
Go get your shine box, Dino.
Go get your effing shine box. Yeah. Speaking about a guy like that's why I hated Brendan Shanahan as a player because he went from the Blues to the Red Wings.
Yeah, that's
so
that's
it's like
one.
Screw that guy.
It's NHL player safety.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is it now? Is George Peros still the
George
player
Peros?
guy?
Yeah,
Does he
is
still have the mustache?
still leading that.
He'll be replaced by Raffi Torres,
leading that charge.
Another small guy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Theo Fleury.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to hate this guy.
There was a game against the Hawks. It was the year Chris Simon was on the Blackhawks, so whatever year that was, where he was being such a dick on the ice that it was the first time I considered going on the ice during a game.
I wouldn't recommend that.
And physically assaulting Theo Fleury. He was just after the whistle, slash to the ankle, nut shot, and he got away with all of it. He had a way of, not never, but very often not getting caught with the cheap stuff he was doing. And another guy who was a fantastic player. And I was actually very excited when the Hawks got him. And then I met him. They brought him in because this is when the Hawks were on the score. They brought him in like preseason to do an interview with Jesse Rogers on the pregame show. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go meet him. And I walked in. I'm like, he's out of it. Like he was just like, good to meet you. Like he was like sleepy and sweaty, and it was just, well, this is not gonna work.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, look, that guy has been through.
He's got his
hell.
demons. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, if you don't know the Theo Fleury story, you want to feel horrible about life, pick up his book. It's harrowing. So he talks about like picking up drugs next to a dead body in Chicago, like just, and I mean that's late in his career. Not to mention all the things he endured in junior hockey. Just another example of a victim of hockey's horrible culture. But and then his post hockey career kind of did like the born again thing a little bit, and was doing motivational stuff, and now he's gone really, really far right wing again. Maybe not again, but that's where he is now. So these guys, they've got a lot of demons, and a lot of stuff has happened to them.
We're
not
trying
to
to hate
excuse
these
it,
guys.
but
We're not trying to like feel bad for them.
No, we said he went way right wing, so he's back in the hate column.
yeah,
again.
no, it's. But I mean, him specifically, his story is
It's a very
it's tough.
yeah, it's a very tough
You
tough
at least
life.
got a
that he's
reason
had.
for why he was such a jag. Like some of these guys are jags to be jags, but then when you read about all the stuff he went through, you're like, okay,
Right.
I could totally. It's not forgivable, but it's more understandable. He had a lot of pent up aggression. He needed
Yeah,
to
you
get
can
out.
see why
Yeah.
someone ends up acting.
But at the
that
time
way.
it was going on, you had no idea, and you were like, this guy needs to get hit by a bus.
Speaking of which,
There he is, Ty Domi, another guy.
Another little guy with a lot of anger.
Another meathead. And his kid stinks too.
He is the meatiest meathead
Okay.
ever. That fight with him and
Quote,
Probert, when Domi was on the Rangers, Probert was on the Red Wings. Probert, who is the all-time heavyweight champ in my opinion, is just pounding away at Domi. And the angle you have on screen is Probert's got his left arm extended, and you can't see Domi's face, but he's got Domi bent over, and Probert's reaching with the right, uppercut, 8, 9, 10 in a row, and Domi turns, and Domi's laughing. He's eating right uppercuts from Bob Probert at full power, and Domi gets up with a smile on his face. That guy is a cement head, literally.
And
Yeah.
then
Like, it's crazy.
there was the time he pulled the fan into the penalty box and started
Oh, that was the
beating him.
fan. That was the fan's fault.
I appreciate that about him.
But yeah.
It's like the one moment I liked him.
Yeah, but Domi and Probert, they went at it dozens of times. There's a whole website devoted to them duking it out. So yeah, Ty Domi was impossible to like.
I also had a phase, and my wife brings it up on the chat here again, where I hated Jeremy Roenick because I was so hurt by his leaving. And there was a time he came to Chicago and fought Mark Bell. And Mark Bell actually kind of whooped his ass.
ABC line. Let's
And
go.
I got very excited about that. Like in that moment, still Roenick is my all-time favorite.
There's
But
a lot of people that still hate Chris Chelios for getting traded to the Red Wings. So I get that.
Yeah.
We still all have our inner meatball that comes out.
well,
at different
Chelios,
times.
I forgave him in my book as I did some reflection. But Chelios had a knack for just rubbing it in Hawks fans' faces. Like, hey, let me bring the cup to Wrigley in my Red Wings jersey. It's like,
Right.
just stay in Detroit,
Well,
dude.
was that rubbing it into the Hawks fans' face or just rubbing it into the Hawks organization?
See, to me at the time, it felt like it felt personal to me. But reflecting on how that all went down,
That was a big FU.
It was
to
a
the
big
Wirtz
FU to the
family.
Wirtz
Yeah,
family, as it
absolutely
should have
was.
been.
Absolutely, and
Yes.
kudos for doing that.
Oh yeah, Chris Chelios is done. He's got no hockey left, and he plays 20 years or something.
I
in
think he
Detroit.
played more for the Red Wings than he did for the Blackhawks.
Yes, he did. Yep.
How about Jason in the chat suggesting Jumbo Joe Thornton? His
never hated-
appreciation for him changed after all those cross checks to Taves' back.
Nah,
Yeah.
I never hated him.
See, I did. I definitely did after all that Taves stuff. I'm with Jason.
I'm having a really hard time remembering this player's name, and I'm gonna smack myself in the face
you
when I
hate him
remember
so
it.
much you forgot his name.
Oh my gosh, he
Seared
played on
a
the
hole
Blackhawks
into your head.
in the early 2000s. Matthew Barnaby.
Oh, Barnaby.
Yeah.
Matthew Barnaby was
He
just
was not
Sabres
a
legend.
great-
yes,
Yeah.
just a one of those players that would just instigate and play. I think the thing that I don't know if we've really talked about this too much, but guys that just play that role of the heel and lean into it, you can kind of respect it a little bit. That's a guy who did exactly that. In his
And I
time.
feel like that made him a better player.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because he knew he wasn't going to be a Hart Trophy winner
No.
based on his talent. So he did what he had to do to stay in the league.
Yep.
And speaking of guys that embraced the heel role, nobody did that better than Sean
Avery.
Avery.
Sean
Exactly.
Avery was not a talented hockey player to NHL standards. I don't want to say like he made it to the NHL. You got to have a lot of talent to get that far. But he's a guy that said, listen, I'm not going to be an all-star. I'm not going to be a 40-goal scorer. But I'm going to stand and wave my stick in front of Marty Brodeur. And there's
That
a rule.
was-
When you get a rule made, when you're such a dick that the league has to make a rule to make sure you can't be that big of a dick, you've achieved quite something there.
That was like such a surreal moment. It was like a video game glitch.
Yeah.
He's just facing Brodeur, swinging a stick in the air, like just.
Like you,
It
like
was
you've
like
always.
there was no play happening that would require that. He was just trying to piss off Martin Brodeur.
You'd always see, oh yeah,
I'm
you
not
get
touching you. I'm
get
not
get to
touching
the
you.
front of the net,
right.
take away the goalie's eyes, but not literally put your fists in their eyes.
That was me and my
block
sister in
them.
the back seat on a family vacation. I'm not touching you. I'm not
Yep.
touching you.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that was. And that was a guy that wanted to be a bad guy 24/7. He was
He knew
he
how
was
to,
like Razor Ramon on ice skates. Like
Yeah.
he was just like
Hey,
he
yo.
embraced it.
He knew how to keep his
embraced
job.
it, and he's but even off the ice, he was like, "Yeah, I'm this guy 24/7." And you know what? Credit to him, he carved a very long NHL career and cashed quite a few large checks.
Fashion icon,
Yes,
I believe, right?
Allegedly, I don't know. I don't pay attention to that.
Good name in the couple good ones. Dr. Horror Show brings up Darian Hatcher, who
Yes.
just destroyed Jeremy Roenick.
hated
They
him.
broke his jaw.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
bad.
Claude Lemieux has not come up somehow, which is a miracle. That's a guy who had
but
a career
I
playing
love,
dirty.
I love those Avs teams because of their
Yeah.
nature of the Red Wings, so I kind of liked them.
Yep. Speaking of the Red Wings, very sorry for what happened to you, Vladimir Konstantinov, but you were a massive prick when you played.
Yes, he was.
I hated you as a player, and again, tragic that you were in a car accident, but F that guy, man. Like, he was the worst. And he looked like a Bond villain.
Yeah.
Like, when you thought, like, Russian villain, it was Vladimir Konstantinov.
Yeah.
He looked like Red Skull kind of from
Yeah.
the Marvel things.
Yes.
And another Red Wing who kind of on the Barnaby thing. This is one of the guys. Was it the same year where it was Adrian Aucoin, Barnaby, and Martin Lapointe were brought in to show leadership to the Blackhawks?
Yeah.
That was a Dale Talon move, I believe. Martin Lapointe was another one who was kind of a POS for the Red Wings. What some talent, good level of talent,
Yeah.
but as the Hawks always did back then, like, oh, you're a third liner in Detroit, come be our star player
Red Wings
here.
had a lot of guys like that, like Sean Burr and Joey Coker, and
Yeah.
you know,
Ugh.
even Chris Draper was a guy that was hard to cheer for.
Trying to see, is that the same year? Lacoin?
That would be what?
Lapointe?
05?
I don't know.
I think that was
06?
before Talon. That
Oh, no,
was
it was Barnaby and Curtis Brown.
Curtis Brown.
That was that free agent
yeah.
class. Then it was Cullimore, Barnaby, Aucoin, and Lapointe.
Cullimore. Oh, I love these.
because
names.
we got we like to get those Red Wing guys. I mean, we got Probert, we got Martin Lapointe. Remember the Paul Eiserbart era?
How about the Paul Coffey era?
all 10 games?
All
of it.
10 games.
All
He's
10
like,
games.
yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore.
He
He's like,
pulled-
I
he
think you
pulled a
should
slap
leave.
shot. Trade me right effing now.
I don't want to be around anymore. Wow, it's 12 o'clock already. We got to wrap this up. That was great fun. Maybe we'll have to do a part two.
Should I
of,
show just quickly the other photos that we've?
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
names that we-
let's
there was there's so much
There were
hatred
so
we
many.
couldn't fit it all into one
So
show.
we had
Oh,
Tom,
Tom
Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Wilson
absolutely.
was
That's a
one.
Another
great
guy
photo, by
who
the
doesn't
way.
need to do it but does.
Yep.
Let's see, who else didn't we show here?
Tom Wilson's
this
a great one.
effing guy.
Yeah,
yeah,
Vancouver.
Pud Wackington.
F
Yeah,
that guy.
Darius
Oh.
Kasparaitis.
I hated this guy just
Kasparaitis.
because of his name. He sounds like an upper respiratory infection.
Darius Kasparaitis. I gave him the finger when he was on Pittsburgh, and he summoned me to the ice.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
Did you go?
I hope
No.
not.
I saved that for Theo Fleury.
Ulf
Ulf Samuelson put Krivo
Samuelsson.
Krasov through the boards, almost killing Wayne Gretzky's wife.
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember that?
I
And then
chose-
Ulf Samuelson had to go to the Rangers bench and be like, Wayne, I think I might have hurt your wife.
Former Blackhawks assistant coach.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I chose this photo of him, though, because I like the Whalers.
You can never have too much of the
Whalers.
whale.
Gotta love the whale.
That's great.
Good Whalers.
Well, that was a lot of fun. Well, maybe we'll revisit later in the summer and say part 2 of your most hated.
The list is long.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that show. We certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. And if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us to continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use the code CHGO when you sign up. Not only will you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but make a $50 or more first-time deposit, and you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. And remember, you can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet, live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Tomorrow's show will be pre-taped. We're going to record it tonight around 5 p.m. We're going to do our player evaluations of Boris Kachuk and Taylor Radish. We're also going to talk to Brian Hedger, who will give us a preview on Brad Shaw, another Blackhawks coaching profile. So that will be out around 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, but it will be pre-recorded, so we will not have reaction to the NHL awards. We'll get to that on Thursday's show.
No YouTube show tomorrow because we'll be at the big tailgate party.
We'll be at the tailgate. Join us at the official CHGO tailgate, 11:30 in Lot B at the Joan, at the Cell, at the G-Rate, at Comiskey, at whatever you call it. Come find us.
We'll call it CHGO Stadium for the day.
Officially sold out our deal, but please come visit us in Lot B.
You come into the game, you can still
get tickets, just not the special.
Being told in my ear that, yes, indeed, there are tickets available for this afternoon Wednesday White Sox game.
Yes, not through us.
Shocking.
But easily at the windows.
And we want to thank Weber Grills and Green Ridge Farms for their help in the event. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to eat so many encased meats. I'm bringing extra blood pressure medication just to be safe.
I'm bringing an extra a bigger size of pants just in case.
Yeah, wear the elastic waist.
Elastic waistband.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, we'll see you tomorrow at the Cell. We will talk to you tomorrow on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Have a great day. Stay cool. Stay inside, and just turn on the YouTube and watch all the great CHGO podcasts as they come your way. For Mario and Greg, I'm Jay. We'll talk to you tomorrow on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.